Welcome. Tonight we step into stillness, a space where nothing needs to be solved and everything is allowed to be. Here, control fades and peace begins to unfold, quietly, like moonlight over water. All you need to do is listen, breathe, and let yourself drift, because where control ends, peace begins. It's late now. The world outside has quieted, but inside your mind still hums a soft, persistent vibration that refuses to settle. You lie there, eyes half closed, body heavy, yet your thoughts keep flickering on and off like city lights that never sleep. You tell yourself you want rest, but your mind is already busy building tomorrow. There are so many open tabs in your head, 1,000, maybe more. Each one carries a fragment of what you've seen, what you've said, what you've forgotten to do. One tab plays the loop of a conversation you wish had gone differently. Another flashes with worries about the future, deadlines, people, promises. Some tabs are blank, yet glowing, open just in case. And somewhere between them all, a quiet voice whispers, "If I can just think it through, maybe I'll be okay." So you scroll through memories and possibilities, trying to hold them in order, trying to predict what life will do next. But the truth is, life does not wait to be predicted. It moves like wind. Beyond the fences we build in our minds, you can almost feel the weight of it, the invisible pressure of keeping everything together. Your body tightens without you noticing. Shoulders inch upward, breath shortens, hands curl slightly in the dark. It's as though your mind is holding the whole world inside your chest. We live in an age of constant thinking. Thoughts layered on thoughts until silence becomes uncomfortable, almost suspicious. The moment we stop, the noise rushes back in, a waterfall of unfinished sentences and imagined futures. It's exhausting to live this way, always chasing the illusion of being on top of everything. But what if you don't have to be? What if it's okay to close the tabs one by one? Not because you've solved everything, but because you no longer need to. Right now, in this very moment, nothing is demanded of you. The world can wait. The thoughts can wait. You are not falling behind. You are simply here, breathing, existing, listening. The hum of your mind doesn't need to disappear. It just needs a little space to soften. So take a slow breath in and notice how your body expands, like a wave rolling gently toward the shore. Exhale and let that wave return to the sea. Again, slower this time. Let the air carry away a little of the noise. You are allowed to rest even when your thoughts are still busy. You're allowed to let the world spin without you holding it up. The night does not ask for perfection. It only asks for presence. And somewhere beneath all the thinking, there is stillness, waiting patiently for you to remember that it's there. There's a small comfort in believing we are in control, that if we plan carefully enough, if we stay alert, if we think one step ahead, life will unfold the way we imagine. It's a quiet bargain we make with ourselves. If I do everything right, nothing will go wrong. But life does not sign that contract. No matter how tightly we hold on, the truth keeps slipping through our fingers. The weather turns without asking. People change their minds. The future, no matter how hard we stare at it, remains a blur, shifting and shimmering just beyond reach. Still, we try. We make lists, predictions, backup plans. We check the news, the messages, the calendar, hoping that certainty might appear between the lines. But control is a mirage that grows clearer the closer we chase it. You can feel it in the body, that subtle strain that comes with trying to manage what was never yours to manage. The clenched jaw, the shallow breath, the restlessness in your chest. It's the body's way of saying you are carrying something too heavy. Imagine trying to hold the ocean in your hands. You scoop it up, but it runs through your fingers no matter how you grasp. You panic for a moment, afraid to lose it. But the ocean was never meant to be held. It only exists in its movement, its freedom, its endless change. And maybe so do you. We learn from a young age to take control, to manage our time, our emotions, our outcomes. Yet no one teaches us the art of allowing, of trusting that life can unfold without our constant supervision. We think control brings safety, but often it brings anxiety, because deep down we know it's impossible. Think of the rain. You cannot stop it from falling, no matter how carefully you plan your day. You cannot command the sun to shine. You cannot make another person love you, stay with you, or understand you. And when the future comes, it will come in its own way, not as you feared, not as you planned, but as it must. And so we suffer not because life is uncontrollable, but because we refuse to accept that it is. We suffer in the gap between how things are and how we want them to be. But what if we could step out of that gap? What if instead of fighting the river, we floated for a while, letting it carry us where it may? Letting go of control doesn't mean giving up responsibility. It means understanding what truly belongs to you. Your choices, your words, your presence, these are yours. The rest, the weather, the world, the hearts of others, they move to their own rhythm. There's a quiet power in that realization. When you stop trying to steer everything, you begin to move with life rather than against it. You begin to notice the beauty that control once blinded you to, the surprise of a kind word, the peace in uncertainty, the grace of not knowing what comes next. So tonight, allow yourself to rest in the truth that you were never meant to control it all. The sky shifts, the waves rise and fall, and still the world keeps turning. Take another slow breath. You are safe, even without control. You are held, even when you let go. And perhaps this surrender is the beginning of real peace. You've been holding on for so long, holding thoughts, plans, memories, all the things that make up the shape of your world. But right now, in this quiet space, none of them need your attention. There is nothing to solve tonight, no unfinished story that must find its ending before you sleep. The world can wait. You can let go, just for tonight. Let that thought settle like a feather landing softly in your chest. Let it remind you that you are safe enough to rest, even if life remains unsolved, even if tomorrow is uncertain. Feel the air moving through your nose, gentle and slow. Notice how each breath is already happening without your effort. The rise and fall, the rhythm that has carried you through every moment of your life. You don't have to breathe right. You don't have to make the breath happen. Just notice it, like waves coming to shore, then returning again. Your body knows how to rest. It's your mind that forgets. So let the body lead now. Let your shoulders drop a little, as though setting down invisible bags. Loosen your jaw, your neck. Let your hands uncurl. The world will not fall apart if you stop holding it for a while. There's a silence waiting beneath all the noise, not empty, but full of peace. It's the silence of the stars, the silence of the ocean at night, the silence between heartbeats. When you stop trying to manage everything, you can finally hear it. You might notice thoughts still moving, and that's okay. They're like clouds drifting across the sky. You don't have to push them away, just let them pass. They're not commands, only weather passing through the mind. You can rest beneath them, steady and calm. You can be the sky, vast and open, untouched by whatever moves across it. There is no need to reach anywhere, no need to become anyone. You are enough in this breath, in this stillness, in this very moment. The night doesn't ask you to be strong or smart or certain. It simply asks you to be, softly, honestly, completely. So let yourself drift. Let the edges of the day fade like ink dissolving in water. Feel the distance widen between one thought and the next. The mind quiets, not because you force it to, but because you no longer fight it. You can imagine the earth beneath you, steady and vast, holding you gently. It has carried you through every moment so far. It will carry you through the night. All you need to do is surrender to its rhythm. Inhale slowly and feel the breath gather like light inside you. Exhale and let that light dissolve into the dark, soft, warm, peaceful. With each breath, you are loosening the threads that tie you to the noise of the day. You can let go just for tonight. Let go of what you couldn't fix, of what you couldn't know. Let go of the need to be anywhere but here. Rest doesn't ask you to escape the world, only to stop trying to control it. For now, you are safe. You are enough. You are free to rest. And as you drift closer to sleep, remember this. Letting go isn't the end of your story. It's the gentle beginning of peace. There's a reason we try so hard to control life. It isn't foolishness or pride, it's instinct. Somewhere deep within us, beneath thought and reason, our nervous system hums with one ancient message: stay safe. The human brain was shaped by survival. It learned to predict danger, the storm on the horizon, the snap of a branch, the shifting expression on another face. To survive, we learn to anticipate, to plan, to hold the reins of what might come. That same instinct still lives in us, though the predators have changed. We no longer run from wolves, but from uncertainty itself. We check our phones, our schedules, our savings, our relationships. scanning for signs of safety, of control. Every what if is a modern rustle in the grass, and yet our lives are no longer governed by the body's immediate dangers. We live inside the mind's imagined ones. It tells us, if I can control this, I'll be safe. If I can hold it all together, I won't fall apart. But this grasping exhausts us because life, in its vastness, refuses to be tamed. Socrates once said that wisdom begins with knowing how little we truly know, and the Stoics, following him, taught that peace comes not from mastering the world, but from mastering ourselves, our inner responses, our thoughts, our choices. They called it the distinction between the internal and the external. The external, the weather, the people, the outcomes, the past, the future. The internal, the way we meet these things. With fear or acceptance, with anger or calm. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus said, "We cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond to them. This is the quiet freedom hidden beneath the illusion of control. Still, it's not easy." We have been taught that control equals strength, that letting go means failure. So we tighten our grip, afraid that if we stop steering, everything will collapse. We whisper to ourselves, if I don't hold it together, everything will fall apart. But maybe that isn't true. Maybe things fall apart only so they can find their natural place again. Maybe your task was never to keep everything in order, but simply to meet the disorder with grace. When you look closely, control is not about power. It's about fear. The fear of losing what we love, the fear of becoming lost ourselves. But fear doesn't need to be fought. It needs to be understood. And when you understand it, when you see that it was only ever your heart trying to protect you, something softens. You can begin to release the reins just a little. You can breathe again. Control at its root is the body's way of saying, I want to be safe. But perhaps safety doesn't come from holding tighter. Perhaps it comes from trusting that life somehow knows how to hold you. There's a moment when the body begins to whisper what the mind refuses to hear. It starts quietly. A stiffness in your shoulders, a tightness in your chest, the faint tremor of muscles that have been working too long. At first, you think it's nothing, just fatigue, just another day. But beneath it lies something deeper, the effort of holding on. Imagine your hand closing around a small stone. At first it's easy, your fingers curve naturally, your grip steady. But as minutes turn into hours, the weight grows heavier. The hand begins to ache, the muscles tremble. And though the stone hasn't changed, the strain of holding it has. Now imagine that stone as everything you're trying to control, your plans, your relationships, your future, your self-image. Each one adds a little more weight, and yet you keep holding because somewhere inside a voice insists, if I let go, I'll lose everything. But holding on has its own kind of loss. The loss of rest, the loss of ease, the loss of feeling light. The body and the mind are not separate. When your thoughts tighten, your muscles follow. When your heart worries, your breath shortens. It's as if your whole being joins in the struggle to keep the world from slipping away. You can test it right now. Bring awareness to your body. Notice your hands. Are they clenched? Notice your jaw. Is it holding tension? Notice your breath. Does it move freely or does it feel trapped beneath your ribs? That's the language of effort. That's how the mind speaks through the body. You have been carrying so much. The invisible weight of expectations, the pressure to be okay, the constant effort to manage what was never meant to be managed. It's no wonder you feel tired. There's a kind of exhaustion that sleep alone cannot heal. It's the weariness that comes from resisting life itself, from fighting every change, every uncertainty, every feeling that doesn't fit the plan. You may rest your body, but if your mind keeps clinging, peace cannot enter. Think of a leaf holding onto a branch in late autumn. The wind blows, the air chills, and still it clings, afraid of the fall. But the moment it releases, it discovers flight. The ground is not an ending, but a homecoming. You too can release. You can open your hand, even if just a little. You can let the stone rest in your palm instead of gripping it tight. The world won't end if you soften. It might, in fact, begin again. Feel that image now. Your hand slowly loosening. The fingers uncurl, the muscles sigh. Relief flows in like a quiet tide. That's the sound of surrender, not defeat, but returning. Because to let go is not to abandon life. It's to trust that life can hold itself. You don't have to hold it all together. You only have to stop tearing yourself apart trying to. The body already knows this truth. Every breath is a lesson in letting go. The inhale gathers, the exhale releases. And somewhere between them lies peace, small and steady, waiting for you to notice. So if you feel tired, not just in your body but in your being, know this: it's not weakness. It's the simple truth that nothing can stay clenched forever. Even the strongest hands must open. Even the storm must pass. And when it does, what remains is calm, vast, quiet, and endlessly forgiving. There comes a moment, gentle, almost imperceptible, when something inside you finally exhales. After all the striving, all the holding, all the silent resistance against what is, there arrives a quiet recognition. I can't keep fighting this anymore. At first, that realization feels like loss. You've been taught that to stop pushing means to fail, that to release your grip is to fall behind. But as the tension eases, something unexpected begins to happen. In the space where struggle once lived, peace starts to bloom. This is the moment of surrender. Not defeat, not despair, but a soft turning toward trust. A surrender that whispers, maybe I don't have to control everything for life to unfold as it should. For a long time we confuse surrender with giving up. We think it means abandoning hope or effort, letting the current take us wherever it wishes. But true surrender is something different. It's the quiet decision to trust the current, to believe that it knows the way, even when we do not. Letting go is not giving up. It's giving in to life. It's allowing what wants to move, to move. allowing what wants to stay, allowing yourself to be carried by something larger, something that has always known where to take you. You may not see the map, but you can feel the river beneath you. It doesn't need your instructions. It only asks for your trust. Imagine floating on your back in a calm lake at dusk. The water cradles you effortlessly. You don't have to kick or paddle. You simply allow. Every muscle that softens becomes a declaration of faith. The water will hold me. That's what surrender feels like. The moment the body stops bracing for impact, the heart stops arguing with reality, and the mind finally bows to the mystery. And in that bow, there is immense grace. The storms don't disappear. Life still shifts, still surprises, still changes direction, but the fear softens. Because you are no longer trying to command the wind, you've learned to sail with it. Surrender isn't passive, it's deeply alive. It's the conscious act of saying, I choose peace over control. I choose trust over fear. It's the courage to meet the unknown not as an enemy, but as a teacher. And in this surrender, something beautiful happens. The world, which once felt heavy and unyielding, begins to open again. Colors return, the smallest details. The rustle of leaves, the flicker of candlelight, the steady rhythm of breath start to glow with quiet meaning. Because when you stop wrestling with life, you finally have the space to see it. You realize that life has been holding you all along, through every change, every heartbreak, every uncertain dawn. And in that realization, you can rest. So take a slow breath now. Feel the air move gently in and out, effortless and kind. Each inhale is a beginning, each exhale a release. This is the rhythm of surrender, the rhythm of trust, the rhythm of life itself. You don't have to fight it anymore. You don't have to prove your worth through struggle. You are already enough simply by being here. Letting go is not giving up. It's giving into life and discovering at last that life has always been ready to hold you. Listen for a moment to the sound beneath the sound, rain tapping against the window, the slow rhythm of your breath, the faint hum of the world continuing quietly without needing your command. This is where philosophy meets stillness, where thought becomes something more than analysis and begins to resemble peace. Across centuries and continents, two voices have whispered the same truth in different languages: the Stoics of the West and the Buddhists of the East. Marcus Aurelius and the Buddha, two souls separated by oceans and time, both looked upon the restless human mind and saw its suffering come from the same place: the desire to control what cannot be controlled. For the Stoic, life was an unfolding theater. You cannot decide your role, the weather on the stage, or the other actor's lines. You can only choose how you perform your part, with dignity, with calm, with grace. Everything outside your will, Marcus Aurelius wrote, belongs to fate. But within you, in that small, sacred space between stimulus and response, lies freedom. For the Buddhist, life is a river, flowing, changing, never the same twice. To grasp at the water is to suffer, because what you try to hold will always slip away. The Buddha taught that peace arises when we stop clutching at what is transient, when we see impermanence not as loss but as truth. To cling is to drown, to release is to float. Different words, same essence. Both paths ask the same quiet question. What if the only thing you can ever truly control is how you meet the moment? The Stoic faces life with reason, reminding himself, this too is outside my power. The Buddhist faces it with compassion, whispering, this too shall pass. Together they teach us that freedom does not come from mastery over the world, but from harmony with it. Let that idea breathe in you for a while. Inhale and imagine the calm discipline of the Stoic, unshaken, aware, steady as a mountain. Exhale and feel the gentle release of the Buddhist, soft, compassionate, open as the sky. You don't need to choose between them. They are two wings of the same bird, one rooted in clarity, the other in surrender, both guiding you toward balance. When you practice Stoic calm, you learn to pause before reacting, to observe your thoughts without letting them rule you. When you practice Buddhist release, you learn to let those same thoughts drift away like clouds, ungrasped, unjudged, untouched. Between reason and stillness, you find peace. And if you listen closely, you can almost hear them speaking together. Marcus Aurelius in the rain, the Buddha in the wind, whispering to your weary heart, let it be. You are not what happens, you are the awareness that witnesses it. The rain continues outside, soft and constant. Your breath mirrors it, steady, rhythmic, alive. Each inhale gathers the world, each exhale lets it go. And in that gentle cycle, you begin to understand what both sages knew, that peace is not found in control, but in presence, not in fixing life, but in flowing with it, not in grasping, but in grace. So tonight, let their wisdom become your lullaby, the Stoic's calm, the Buddha's release, and you, the quiet space between them, listening, breathing free. Everything flows, wrote Heraclitus more than 2,000 years ago. You can't step into the same river twice, he said, because both you and the river have already changed. It sounds simple, but in that single truth lies the whole mystery of life. Everything moves, everything shifts. Every breath you take marks the end of one moment and the beginning of another. The world is never still. Clouds drift, seasons turn, faces age, loves fade, dawn gives way to dusk. And yet the human heart keeps reaching for permanence, as if by holding tight enough we could stop the river's flow. We crave certainty, continuity, something we can rely on. We want people to stay the same, feelings to last, days to follow our design. But the very nature of existence is change, the pulse of creation and dissolution repeating endlessly. When we resist that rhythm, we suffer. You might notice it in small ways. The ache when something beautiful ends, The quiet sadness of realizing that a perfect moment can't be recreated. The nostalgia for what once was, or the fear of what might come. These are the ripples of impermanence touching the surface of our hearts. But what if impermanence isn't a tragedy? What if it's the very thing that makes life luminous? Think of a sunset. It's breathtaking precisely because it doesn't last. The colors fade, and that fading is the beauty. Each hue more precious because you know it will never return in quite the same way. The same is true for every fleeting joy, every passing sorrow, every breath. They come, they go, and together they create the music of being alive. When you learn to see impermanence not as loss but as movement, you begin to soften. You stop fighting the current and start floating with it. The river isn't something to conquer, it's something to join. Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine standing by a river at night. The moonlight dances across its surface, silver and soft. You watch the water glide, never rushing, never hesitating, always becoming. You realize you are part of this same motion, your thoughts, your body, your life, all flowing, all transforming, all alive. There's a strange peace in that knowing, a gentle humility. You no longer need to freeze the world in place to feel safe. You can trust its movement. You can trust your own unfolding within it. Impermanence teaches us gratitude. Because nothing lasts, everything matters. Because everything passes, every moment becomes sacred. So breathe deeply. Let the air fill you like a wave, then leave you as quietly as it came. Notice how natural that is, how release is built into life itself. The inhale and exhale, the meeting and parting, the constant rhythm of transformation. You don't have to fear change. You were made for it. Your very cells are born and die and are born again, endlessly renewing. The river doesn't destroy itself by moving, it keeps itself alive. And you too can learn to flow, gently, freely, without resistance. Let the moments pass through you. Let them leave behind only what is meant to stay. Understanding, tenderness, peace. Everything flows, and somewhere within that flow you find not loss, but liberation. There is a moment, quiet and unassuming, when the heart begins to understand what the mind has been resisting, that life is not meant to be held so tightly. When you stop fighting what is, the world doesn't collapse, it softens, and so do you. Acceptance is not passive. It's not a surrender to despair or an act of indifference. It's the courage to face reality without needing it to be different. It's saying, this is here, and even though it's not what I wished for, I will meet it with grace. Life has its own rhythm, and it rarely follows our choreography. People change, plans unravel, love shifts shape, and even our own reflections evolve with time. We lose what once felt irreplaceable, move through endings we never expected, and yet somehow we keep breathing. You may have known the ache of loss, the kind that leaves silence where laughter used to be, a friendship fading, A love that once lit your world, now dimmed to memory. At first, acceptance feels impossible, like asking the sea to be still. But slowly, like dawn spreading across the horizon, it begins to arrive. Not as a decision, but as a gentle truth that settles in the chest. This too belongs. The pain, the longing, the change. They are not intrusions. They are part of the fabric of being alive. Imagine you are standing in the rain. Your first instinct might be to run for cover, to protect yourself. But what happens if instead you pause and simply let the rain fall? You feel it touch your skin, cool and real. And in that moment, it no longer feels like something against you. It becomes something you are within. That is acceptance. The shift from resistance to relationship, from why is this happening to me, to this too is part of my story. When you accept, you stop adding layers of struggle to what already hurts. You stop trying to control the uncontrollable. You give yourself permission to feel, to rest, to begin again. Acceptance doesn't erase the wound. It allows healing to reach it. It doesn't deny your grief. It makes space for it to breathe. And within that space, peace finds you. Think of a broken relationship, a dream that never came true, a version of yourself you've had to outgrow. You don't have to rush to fill the emptiness they leave behind. You can sit with it for a while. Let it teach you about tenderness, about impermanence, about how love doesn't disappear. It transforms. When you stop demanding that life be perfect, you begin to see its quiet perfection already shimmering beneath the surface. The way loss opens room for compassion. The way endings clear space for beginnings. The way pain deepens the well of your humanity. Acceptance is a gentle wisdom, the kind that doesn't shout, doesn't argue, doesn't chase. It simply waits for you to notice that everything you've been fighting against has been holding a lesson meant to set you free. So breathe slowly. Feel the air come and go like the tide. You don't need to fix anything right now. You don't need to make sense of every turn your life has taken. You're allowed to stop fighting. You're allowed to rest inside what is. Because what is, even when it's uncertain, even when it hurts, is already enough. Close your eyes for a moment. Bring your attention down from the mind, away from the noise of thoughts, away from the loops of memory, and into the body. Notice where you are right now, not in theory, not in story, but in sensation. You might feel the weight of your body against the bed, the floor, the chair, the gentle contact of fabric on your skin, the soft pull of gravity anchoring you to the earth. Now bring your awareness to your shoulders. Do you notice how they lift, almost without permission? They carry invisible burdens, things you promised to hold, worries you never meant to keep. Let them drop just a little. Let them remember what it feels like to be unguarded. Move your attention to your neck. It holds the tension of all the words you didn't say, all the moments you swallowed back emotion to stay composed. You can let them go now. There's no need to hold the mask in place. Let the muscles soften. Let the breath move freely again. Now the chest, the quiet space behind the ribs where your breath lives. How often do you notice it? The rise and fall that never stops, that never asks for thanks. It's there even when your mind is far away, always returning, always forgiving. Take a deep breath in, slow, steady. Feel the air expand within you like light finding every corner of a dim room. And as you exhale, imagine that breath carrying away everything that has grown heavy. The tension, the worry, the tiny resistances you've gathered through the day. Each exhale is a small act of surrender. Each release a quiet reminder that you don't have to hold it all. The body tells stories the mind forgets to hear. Every ache, every tightness, every held breath is a message. Something inside me needs gentleness. When you listen, the body begins to unwind its quiet language of trust. Sometimes letting go begins not in the mind, but in the muscles. A sigh, a loosened hand, a breath that reaches deeper than the last. You may feel the tension resist at first. That's okay. It's been protecting you. The body holds what the heart couldn't process, what the mind wasn't ready to face. Thank it for that. Then gently remind it that it doesn't have to protect you in this moment. There's no danger here, only stillness, only breath. Let the rhythm guide you. Inhale, gathering calm. Exhale, letting it go. Inhale, receiving the present. Exhale, releasing the past. Notice how the air moves like a tide through you, a quiet ocean of life. It enters, it leaves, without needing permission. Proof that even without effort, you are part of something vast and rhythmic. Body, like the world, moves through tension and release, contraction and expansion, holding and letting go. This is nature's way. Even the waves retreat after reaching their edge. Even the trees exhale when night comes. And so can you. You don't need to command your body into peace. You only need to listen. It knows how to return home when you stop interrupting its rhythm. So breathe once more, fully, tenderly, as though greeting yourself again. Feel the shoulders loosen, the neck soften, the chest open just enough to let life pass through. You are learning, breath by breath, the art day of release. And with each exhale, the world inside you grows a little quieter and a little more free. There is a moment each night when the world fades at the edges, when the boundaries between what is real and what is remembered begin to blur. It happens quietly, without ceremony. You close your eyes, the breath deepens, and little by little, consciousness loosens its grip. This is the doorway of sleep, the gentlest form of surrender we know. You fall into sleep the same way you fall into trust, not by effort, but by release, not by pushing, but by allowing. Sleep cannot be forced. You cannot make it happen. You can only create the space for it, soften the body, quiet the mind, and wait for it to find you. the way the tide finds the shore. Notice how even now, as you listen, the edges of the day are already softening. The mind that once ran in circles begins to slow. The weight of your limbs deepens against the bed. The breath moves like silk through your lungs. You are learning from your own body what the mind so often forgets. That peace arrives when you stop chasing it. Every night, the act of falling asleep is a lesson in letting go. The body teaches what the heart resists, that control is unnecessary, that rest is possible without certainty. As you drift, you surrender your plans, your identity, your very sense of I. You trust that when morning comes, you will return, renewed, reassembled, alive. It is astonishing, isn't it, that you let go of everything, every single night, without even noticing the bravery it takes. To fall into sleep is to say, I release the day, I trust the night. You don't cling to the waking world. You don't demand to know what dreams await. You simply drift into the unknown, into the softness, into the arms of something that holds you without condition. And perhaps this is what life asks of us too. The same faith, the same gentle surrender. To trust the unseen. To believe that when we let go, we don't fall into emptiness, but into something vast and kind. Listen now to your breath. Inhale slowly. Feel the air like a quiet tide rising. Exhale. Let that tide recede, carrying away the remnants of thought, the tiny resistances that remain. Each breath brings you closer to the stillness beneath all doing. Outside, the night breathes with you, the wind whispering through leaves, the distant hum of life continuing in perfect rhythm. It doesn't need your direction, it simply moves effortlessly, faithfully. You too can move like that. You can rest in the knowing that even as you sleep, life keeps unfolding. The heart continues to beat, the world continues to turn. You don't have to hold it together. You don't have to stay awake to keep it alive. Sleep is trust in its purest form, a wordless agreement with the universe that you can stop for a while and still be safe. So now, let the breath become slower, quieter. Let the thoughts fade like ripples on water. Let the body melt into the surface beneath it, weightless, supported, free. You are allowed to drift. You are allowed to rest without reason. You are allowed to surrender to the gentleness that has always been waiting for you. Because the night is not an ending, it is an embrace. And in that embrace, you remember. You fall into sleep the same way you fall into trust, softly, completely, without fear. There is a quiet intelligence within you, ancient, steady, and patient. It doesn't rush. It doesn't argue. It doesn't need your permission to heal. Your body remembers peace. Even when the mind forgets, even when anxiety takes root and thoughts spin in circles, the body never stops trying to bring you back into balance. The heart keeps its rhythm. The lungs keep their slow dance of inhale and exhale. The cells repair and renew, guided by a wisdom older than thought itself. You don't have to tell the body how to breathe. You don't have to remind it how to find sleep. You don't have to explain to your wounds how to close. It already knows. When the mind grows restless, worrying, calculating, reaching, the body waits quietly underneath, whispering, "Come home, just breathe. Let me take care of you." This is not the language of logic. It is the language of rhythm, of pulse, of flow. When you slow down enough to listen, you can feel it. That subtle hum of life always trying to restore harmony. You can test it right now. Bring your attention to your chest. Feel how the breath moves, soft and constant. Then to your belly, the quiet center of gravity where calm begins. Notice the warmth, the steadiness. This is the body remembering peace. It doesn't ask you to think your way into calm. It asks you to feel your way there. Because peace is not an idea. It's a state of being, and the body, when allowed, will lead you back to it. When your thoughts run wild, place a hand over your heart. Feel its beat, not as something you control, but as something that happens for you. That steady pulse is proof of trust, proof that life is still here, moving, holding you from within. The body doesn't hold grudges. It doesn't dwell on the past or plan for the future. It simply responds moment by moment, doing its best to find equilibrium. When you are anxious, it quickens to protect you. When you rest, it softens to rebuild. Every heartbeat is an act of forgiveness. Every breath, an invitation to begin again. If you allow it, your body will teach you how to live gently. It will remind you to eat when you're hungry, to rest when you're weary, to stretch toward warmth, to curl toward safety. All you need to do is listen. There is no need to micromanage your existence. The same intelligence that turns seeds into trees, that guides the tides and the seasons, also lives inside you. It knows how to return to peace, if only you trust it enough to stop interfering. So breathe. Let go of the mind's need to fix, control, or explain. Feel how the body continues its quiet work beneath every thought, healing, balancing, forgiving. You don't have to earn peace. You don't have to chase it. You only have to remember it. The way the body already does. Trust the wisdom that hums beneath your skin. It has carried you through every storm, every sleepless night, every fear that felt too heavy to bear. And it will carry you still. Let yourself rest inside that knowing. The body remembers what peace feels like, and when you allow it to lead, you will remember too. Hold out your hand for a moment, not to grasp, but to feel. Let your fingers loosen, the palm open gently to the air. Notice how natural it feels, this posture of receiving and releasing. An open palm is a quiet philosophy. It welcomes what comes and allows what leaves. It neither clings nor rejects. It simply stays open. What comes, comes. What goes, goes. This simple truth is the heart of allowing. It asks nothing of you except presence, the willingness to meet each moment as it arrives, without demanding that it stay the same. We spend much of life with our hands clenched, gripping what we love, guarding what we fear to lose, trying to hold still what is already moving. And in that effort, we forget how much lighter it feels to simply let things pass through. Imagine holding sand in your palm. The tighter you squeeze, the more it slips away. But when you open your hand, the sand remains soft, resting, still yours for the moment it chooses to stay. And when the wind comes, it carries only what must go. Allowing is not resignation. It's not apathy or detachment. It's the quiet confidence that life knows how to unfold without your constant interference. It's understanding that your task is not to direct the river, but to flow within it. When your hands are open, life can place something new inside them. But when they're closed around what has already passed, nothing fresh can enter. The open palm is the gesture of trust, the body's way of saying, I am ready to receive whatever comes and to release whatever must go. You can practice it not just with your hand, but with your heart. When joy arrives, welcome it fully. Let it fill you. When sorrow visits, let it too be seen and felt. Not because you enjoy it, but because it belongs to the same rhythm of existence. Every emotion, every experience, every person in your life, they are all visitors. They come to teach, to touch, to change you in some way. And when they leave, they make room for what comes next. If you listen closely, you might notice how this truth mirrors your breath. Each inhale welcomes the new. Each exhale lets go of the old. The body is always practicing acceptance. The mind simply needs to catch up. Let your awareness rest on your breath now. Inhale. Feel your chest expand, your palms open slightly. Exhale. Let the air go, effortless and kind. There is no struggle in breathing, no clinging, no control, just rhythm, just trust. This is the art of allowing, to live with an open palm, an open heart, an open mind, to know that what is meant for you will stay until its lesson is complete, and what is not will drift away like leaves carried by the breeze. You don't have to chase. You don't have to hold on. You don't have to resist the turning of the seasons within you. Let life come. Let life go. Keep your hands open. Keep your heart soft. Because the more you allow, the more you belong. Not to the plan you once imagined, but to the vast unfolding of life itself. What comes, comes. What goes, goes. And in between, you are simply here, breathing, receiving, releasing, free. There is a river that runs through everything. You cannot see its source, and you cannot follow it to its end. But if you listen closely, you can hear its song. The gentle murmur that underlies every heartbeat, every breath, every quiet moment of being. This is the rhythm of life itself, and the art of peace lies in learning to move with it. In the Taoist tradition, this harmony is called Wu Wei, often translated as effortless action or non-forcing. It does not mean doing nothing, it means acting in accordance with the natural flow. It is the wisdom of water, soft yet strong, yielding yet unstoppable. Water never argues with the stone in its path. It doesn't resist, it curves, it adapts, it finds another way. And over time, that same gentle persistence shapes valleys and carves canyons, power through softness, movement through stillness. This is Wu Wei. To live in this way is to understand that forcing life only makes it harder. We suffer when we fight the current, when we demand that things unfold according to our plans, when we push against what is already happening. But when we learn to float, to align ourselves with the rhythm of what is, we find a kind of ease that no control could ever give us. Imagine yourself as a leaf resting on the surface of a river. The current carries you effortlessly forward. You do not need to steer. You do not need to know the destination. The water knows. It has known since the beginning of time. There are days when the water is calm and luminous, reflecting the light of the sky. And there are days when it rushes and swells, unpredictable and wild. Yet in both, the leaf remains afloat, unresisting, trusting, belonging. To flow with life does not mean apathy. It means presence. It means responding instead of reacting, listening instead of controlling. It means acting from stillness rather than fear. When you practice Wu Wei, you stop asking, "How can I make this happen?" and begin to ask, "What is life asking of me right now?" You start to notice that peace is not something you build, it's something you allow. The current of life is wiser than your plans. It knows where to turn, when to pause, when to gather speed. Your task is not to paddle harder, but to stay awake within the movement. Even in difficulty, flow can be found. When grief comes, let it wash through you like rain. When joy appears, let it fill you like sunlight. When uncertainty rises, remember, the river has always known the way home. The great sage Lao Tzu wrote, "When nothing is done, nothing is left undone." It is a paradox only until you live it. When you stop forcing, life begins to align around you. Opportunities appear without effort. Peace returns without struggle. Like water, you arrive simply by continuing to move. So take a breath now. Slow, full, tender. Feel the air flow in and out like a tide. You don't have to control the rhythm. You only have to join it. You are the leaf and you are the river. The current doesn't separate you. It sustains you. Let yourself drift a little tonight. Let the current carry what no longer belongs. Let life move through you as it always has, gently, faithfully, without resistance. Flow with life, and life will flow with you. Gratitude is a soft kind of wisdom, the kind that doesn't try to fix or change what is, but simply says thank you. Not because everything is perfect, but because everything belongs. When you begin to see through the eyes of gratitude, control slowly loses its power. The need to manage, to predict, to hold tight begins to fade, because gratitude doesn't reach for what's missing. It rests in what's here. In this way, gratitude is the quiet sibling of surrender. Both arise when you finally stop arguing with life. Both whisper the same truth in different languages. You are safe in this moment, even if you don't understand it. Think of the times you've been caught in uncertainty. When plans collapsed, when the path ahead disappeared into fog. In those moments, the mind scrambles for control. It searches for logic, for reason, for some way to anchor. But beneath the noise of confusion, there is another possibility. to pause, to breathe, and to whisper, "Thank you, even for this. Thank you, even for what I don't understand." These words are not about acceptance of pain for its own sake. They are about trust. The trust that even the difficult moments are part of a greater unfolding. That somewhere within the discomfort, a seed of meaning is quietly taking root. Gratitude doesn't ask you to pretend. It doesn't deny grief or minimize loss. It simply invites you to see that alongside the ache, there is still beauty, a flicker of light behind the clouds, a reason still forming, hidden just beneath the surface. When you whisper thank you loosen your grip on the story of should. You stop demanding that life rearrange itself to your liking. Instead, you allow it to reveal itself in its own time, its own way. Gratitude is presence, a hand resting gently on the moment saying, "I see you, I trust you, I'm here with you." You can practice it now. Let your eyes wander across the room, noticing small things you've stopped seeing, the way the light falls across a wall, the steady rhythm of your breath, the quiet strength of your heart, still beating, still faithful. There is so much that continues to support you without your asking. Air, gravity, the unseen kindness of the world that holds you up. When you realize this, something in you relaxes. You no longer feel the need to command the universe. You simply join it. Gratitude shifts the weight of life from "I must carry everything" to "everything is carrying me." And in that shift, surrender becomes natural. You don't have to force it. It happens the moment you recognize how much has already been given. So let this be your quiet prayer tonight. Thank you for what is clear, and thank you for what is still unfolding. Thank you for what has stayed, and thank you for what has gone. Thank you, even for what I don't understand. Each word of gratitude is a thread of peace, weaving you gently back into the fabric of life. You don't have to know where it's leading. You only have to trust the warmth that gratitude leaves behind, that calm sense of belonging that says, "I don't need to control this moment to be safe in it." And so you breathe, softly, deeply, and with every breath, you surrender a little more. Not to fate, but to faith. Not to fear, but to love. Not to control, but to gratitude. There comes a point on the path of letting go where acceptance deepens into something even gentler. Love, not the love that clings or seeks, but the love that arises when you finally stop resisting what is. This is the heart of Byron Katie's simple, radical wisdom. Loving what is. Not loving what you wish were true. Not loving what you hope will happen. But loving this, the exact shape of your life as it stands, here and now. At first, the idea seems impossible. How can you love what hurts? How can you open your heart to disappointment, to uncertainty, to change? But love in its purest form is not approval. It is inclusion. It says, even this belongs. When you stop fighting reality, you stop creating suffering. It's not reality that hurts. It's the argument we have with it. Every "this shouldn't be happening," sissy. Every "it wasn't supposed to be this way." becomes a quiet war inside the mind, and peace begins the moment you lay down those weapons. Loving what is doesn't mean you stop caring or taking action. It means you meet each moment with open eyes and an open heart. You stop saying, "This shouldn't be," and begin to ask, "What if this is here to teach me?" Close your eyes and take a breath. Feel the air move in, cool, clear, alive, then out, warm, soft, releasing. Inhale, the world enters you. Exhale, you make space for it to exist. This is what it feels like to love what is, to let reality breathe through you without resistance. Think of a difficult moment in your life, one that once felt unbearable. Now look back. You survived it. Perhaps you even grew from it, though you didn't see it at the time. What once seemed like the end was quietly shaping you, refining you, preparing you. If you could see from the perspective of the heart instead of fear, you might realize it was never against you. When you love what is, you no longer divide life into good and bad, right and wrong, blessing and curse. You see that everything is simply life unfolding, and your only task is to meet it with awareness. Even pain can soften when it is met with love. It doesn't need to vanish, it needs to be witnessed, held in compassion rather than judgment. To say yes to reality is not weakness, it is the beginning of wisdom. There is a quiet freedom that comes from this kind of love. You stop chasing happiness as a distant goal and begin to discover it right here, in the very thing you once rejected. In the sound of the rain you didn't want, in the silence after a goodbye, in the imperfection of the moment that somehow still holds beauty. When you love what is, you join the flow of existence rather than standing apart from it. The heart softens, the breath deepens, the struggle dissolves. You realize that nothing needs to be controlled because nothing was ever truly wrong. Take another breath, slow and tender. Feel the body expand, then settle again. Let this be your quiet prayer. May I meet this moment as it is. May I love what is before me, even when I don't understand it. May I trust that life knows what it's doing, even when I don't. When you stop fighting reality, love has space to move in. And when love moves in, everything, even the uncontrollable, becomes gentle again. There is a part of you that still holds on. It grips tightly to the edges of certainty, afraid of what might happen if it lets go. It plans, it worries, it replays conversations in the dark. It measures safety by control. And maybe for a long time you've tried to silence that part, to shame it, to push it away, to tell it to just relax. But what if instead of fighting it, you simply listened? If you listen closely, you'll hear that even your fear is trying to protect you. It doesn't mean to trap you. It's just afraid of the unknown, afraid of pain, afraid of the fall. It believes that by holding on to people, to plans, to perfection, it can keep you safe. This fear is not your enemy. It is your younger self, still standing guard at the gates of your heart. It learned long ago that the world can be unpredictable, that love can fade, that endings can hurt. So it decided, I will hold on. I will not let anything slip away. But now you have grown. You've seen that holding on too tightly can hurt just as much as losing. And you can look at that fearful self with compassion, not blame, not rejection, just love. Close your eyes. Imagine that small, trembling part of you, the one that still flinches at uncertainty, still braces against change. Now imagine placing a gentle hand on its shoulder. You don't need to say much. Just breathe with it. Let your calm be the safety it's been searching for all along. You don't heal fear by denying it. You heal it by letting it rest. Fear, like a child, softens in the presence of kindness. When you stop demanding that it disappear, it begins to relax. It realizes it's been seen, and in that seeing, it no longer needs to shout. Say to it softly, "It's okay to be afraid. You were only trying to protect me. Thank you for keeping me safe for so long." Those words are medicine. They loosen the grip of years of inner struggle. They remind you that love doesn't just belong to your brave parts. It belongs to the fragile ones too. You may notice that as you offer compassion inward, something inside you unclenches. The heart expands, the breath deepens. It's as though the body itself recognizes the relief of being accepted as it is. You don't have to be fearless to find peace. You only have to stop fighting your fear. When you hold it gently, it transforms. It becomes a messenger, not a master, a voice that says, "I only wanted you to be safe." And you can answer, "I know, and now I am." The truth is, you don't need to get rid of the self that clings. You only need to include it in your love. Because every part of you, the strong, the soft, the anxious, the uncertain, is worthy of belonging. Let that sink in quietly. You are whole, even in your trembling. You are loved, even in your holding on. Take a deep breath. Let it fill every corner of you, even the ones that still resist. Exhale, slow and kind. And as you do, feel yourself releasing. Not the fear, but the fight against it. You don't need to be fearless to be free. You only need to love the part of you that's still afraid, because even your fear is trying to protect you. And now it can finally rest. There is a lightness that comes the moment you stop fighting the flow of life. It doesn't arrive suddenly. It drifts in quietly, like sunlight through an open window. It is the freedom that appears when you finally release your grip on expectations, on outcomes, on the illusion of control. For so long, you may have believed that love required protection, that to keep what you love, you had to hold it tightly, define it, preserve it. But love, by its nature, resists confinement. It breathes best in open air. It grows not in control, but in trust. Love grows where control fades. When you stop trying to shape love into permanence, it becomes what it was always meant to be. A living thing, wild and tender, free to move and evolve. It ceases to be possession and becomes presence, something you experience rather than own. Surrender makes space for this kind of love. It clears away the clutter of fear, the noise of needing, the weight of trying to manage every heartbeat of life. And in that open space, love begins to bloom. quietly, naturally, as though it had been waiting all along for the air to clear. You may notice this freedom in small, ordinary moments, when you forgive someone instead of waiting for them to change, when you listen without planning your reply, when you let a day unfold without trying to control every detail. That's love. Not the grand gesture, but the soft allowance of what is. To surrender is not to lose, it's to remember that nothing real can be lost. What is truly yours cannot be taken, because it lives within you. What leaves was never meant to stay, and what remains is what was always true. There's a quiet beauty in watching life move as it will, in seeing love ebb and flow, not as a tragedy, but as a rhythm. When you no longer demand permanence, you begin to experience depth. When you stop insisting on guarantees, you begin to experience gratitude. Surrender gives you back your heart. It gives you back the ability to love without fear, to feel without bracing, to give without calculation. It reminds you that your task was never to hold the ocean in your hands, but to let yourself be carried by its waves. Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine yourself floating on that ocean, calm, supported, unresisting. The water doesn't need your effort to hold you. It already does. All it asks is that you trust its depth. This is what surrender feels like. Not a fall, but a rest. Not a collapse, but a return. It's the relief of realizing that life doesn't need you to push anymore. It only needs you to open. When you surrender, you stop guarding your heart like a fortress. You open the gates, and love flows in. Not the kind that promises forever, but the kind that promises truth. And in that truth, there is peace. So take a deep, unhurried breath. Let the air fill you, then leave you. Let your heart expand with the knowing that it no longer needs to fight. You are free to love, not because you've gained control, but because you've given it up. You are free to feel, not because you've secured certainty, but because you've made space for wonder. Surrender is freedom, and freedom is love, unbound, because love grows where control fades. And you at last have become spacious enough to let it flourish. There is a place within you that has never moved. It does not rush when the mind races. It does not tremble when the heart aches. It has been here since the very beginning, the quiet center beneath all noise. You may have touched it before for just a moment, in the pause between breaths, in the hush that follows a sigh, in the space after letting go. It is not something you find by effort. It reveals itself when effort falls away. The still point is not the absence of life. It is life without resistance. It is not emptiness. It is fullness without demand. It does not ask you to become anything, only to remember that you already are. Close your eyes. Let the sounds around you become distant, like waves fading against the shore. Notice your breath, rising, falling, always returning. That gentle rhythm is your anchor. It asks for nothing. It simply is. Now feel the weight of your body resting upon the earth, supported, held. You are not falling, you are being carried. Every muscle, every heartbeat, every cell knows this rhythm of rest. You can trust it. Imagine the mind as a pool of water. When stirred, the surface ripples, reflections distort, shapes blur. But as you stop stirring, the water clears on its own. This is what happens when you stop chasing thoughts. Stillness returns by itself. In this quiet, there is no need to analyze or fix. You do not have to name what you feel or understand why it's there. You only have to breathe. Each inhale draws you inward. Each exhale releases you deeper into peace. Here, words lose their urgency. The mind begins to dim like a candle softening in the dark. What remains is awareness, wide, gentle, infinite. You are not separate from this silence. You are the silence. You are not drifting through calm. Calm is what you have always been. Stay here for a moment, in the space before thought, in the warmth behind breath, in the simple truth of being. Notice how stillness doesn't erase the world. It embraces it. The hum of life continues, but it no longer presses against you. It flows through you without disturbance. This is peace, not an escape, but a homecoming. Let your breath be lighter now. Let the air move as it will. The body knows what to do. The earth knows how to hold you. The night knows how to cradle you into rest. You are safe here. You are whole here. Nothing to prove, nothing to become, only the quiet center, patient, eternal, awake. This stillness has no edge. It stretches beyond the mind, beyond identity, beyond time, and in it, everything, the noise, the chaos, the longing, is forgiven. Everything belongs. You don't need to reach for peace. You are already sitting inside it. Listen. There is no sound now but breath. No motion but the pulse of life itself. Stay here a little longer. Let the silence deepen until it feels like love. This is the still point, the center of all things, the calm beneath the storm, the home that never left you. And when you rise again, the world will still turn, but you will move with it, not as one who struggles, but as one who remembers. There comes a moment when even the idea of letting go feels like too much effort, when you no longer need to do peace or achieve calm or reach stillness. Because peace, calm, and stillness are not things you earn. They are what's left when everything else falls away. You don't have to do anything now. You don't have to fix the breath or chase a thought or find the right posture for rest. You can simply be. Being is the most natural thing in the world, and yet it is the one we forget most easily. We live our days in motion, striving, reaching, adjusting, improving. Even in stillness, the mind tries to perform it. Am I doing this right? Am I calm enough yet? But presence is not something you can perfect. It's what remains when you stop trying altogether. Close your eyes for a moment and feel the gentle weight of your body. Let yourself sink into the surface beneath you, bed, floor, earth. There is no need to resist gravity. It is already holding you. There is no need to breathe correctly. The breath knows its own way home. Listen, the air moves in. The air moves out. You are not controlling it, and yet it happens perfectly. That is being. life unfolding on its own without your management. When you rest in being, the boundary between you and the world begins to soften. The breath you take in was exhaled by the trees. The warmth around you is sunlight that has traveled millions of miles to arrive here. You are not separate from any of it. You are woven into the same quiet rhythm. There is a great relief in realizing this. The burden of self, the endless doing, the endless defining begins to dissolve. You don't have to prove anything to existence. You are already a part of it. You always were. The mind might still whisper now and then, little fragments of thought drifting through. That's okay. You don't need to chase them away. Thoughts are not interruptions. They are simply ripples on the surface of being. They rise, they fall, and the depth beneath remains untouched. You can allow everything to be exactly as it is. The breath, the sound of the night, the pulse of your heart, the thoughts that come and go. Nothing needs to change. Nothing needs to stop. Resting in being is the end of effort. The quiet return to what you've always been. Awareness itself, spacious and kind. When you rest here, even sleep is not something to reach for. It becomes a continuation of stillness, a gentle drift deeper into the same peace that is already here. You don't need to try to fall asleep. Sleep will come as the body's way of joining this calm. Just as the tide follows the moon, rest follows surrender. You are enough in this moment, without words, without thought, without improvement. There is nowhere else to go, nothing left to become. Let yourself dissolve into the silence. Let yourself be breathed by life. Let yourself rest in being, because this effortless awareness, this soft, awake stillness is what you've been searching for all along. You don't have to do anything now. Just be here. Just breathe. Just exist. And let the night cradle you back into the gentle rhythm of the universe, the rhythm of being. The night is quiet now. The world has exhaled. Even the air seems to move slower, as if it too is ready to rest. You've traveled far, through thought and silence, through fear and release, through the long corridors of the mind, back into the soft open space of being. Now there is nowhere left to go. You've arrived. This is the gentle fade, the space where day dissolves into dream, where awareness loosens its edges, where doing gives way to simply being. The sounds around you blur into one continuous breath. Wind moving through leaves, the faint rhythm of your heart, maybe the distant song of the night. You are part of that sound now. You are part of everything that breathes. Let yourself drift slowly, as though the air itself were cradling you. You don't need to think anymore. You don't need to remember or plan or decide. Everything that needed to be said has been said. Everything that needed to be felt has been felt. Let go now. You are safe. Feel the weight of your body sinking deeper into the surface beneath you, supported, held. Grounded in stillness, nothing is required of you. Even the smallest breath is enough. Inhale and let the world enter softly. Exhale and let it all go. The mind drifts, the muscles loosen, the edges of thought begin to blur, like ink fading into water. You are floating now, between waking and sleep, between sound and silence. There is no need to grasp, there is only the rhythm of release. Sometimes peace arrives not as a burst of light, but as a quiet disappearance, the fading of effort, the vanishing of struggle. Like the tide slipping back into the sea, you return to what you've always been, vast, weightless, aware. Let the breath carry you, let it rock you like a slow wave. Let it remind you that you are not separate from the ocean of life. You are made of the same water, the same stillness. If a thought rises, let it drift away. If an image appears, let it pass like clouds across a moonlit sky. There is no need to follow. Everything knows where to go. You can rest now. You can trust the night to hold you. You can trust your body to breathe, your heart to keep its rhythm, the earth to keep turning without your help. All you have to do is be still. All you have to do is let go. And as you drift further, perhaps you notice how the boundary between yourself and the world has vanished. There is no you to protect anymore, no me to fix, no moment to control. There is only softness, only peace, only breath. The night hums quietly, a lullaby without words. Somewhere in that sound, you can hear your own pulse echoing back. Slow and steady, everything is okay now. Everything is as it should be. Let go now. You are safe. The body is weightless. The mind is silent. The heart is open. You are resting in the arms of something infinite, something that asks nothing of you, something that has always loved you. Let the sound fade, let the breath fade, let even the idea of you fade, gently like a candle dimming into night. You are home, you are peace, you are the quiet between the stars. Sleep now, slowly, softly, endlessly. The world will wait. You can rest. You are safe.